just want to introduce myself. My name is Clint Bertan. As you can see, most people that go through what I've gone through with cancer end up losing all their hair, facial hair. So I just want to kind of go back to health and fitness has always been a huge part of my life. I've been working out for like 32 years. Started when I was 16. Probably the last 3 years, I basically drank this water right here for the last 3 years. Gave up sodas. I was drinking Diet Coke, maybe one a day prior to that. But I was very aware of what I ate and put in my body, and what I thought was good water put in my body, because I was just drinking water. And then nutrition, any kind of nutrition. Basically was eating 6 times a day. At the time that I found out I had cancer, prior to that I was basically eating 6 times a day, drinking tons of water throughout the day. I was told I was drinking too much water, but I was like, there's no way I'm drinking too much water. How can you drink too much water? So about 3 weeks before I found out I actually had cancer, I went to the hospital through emergency room. First time I went to the emergency room, they took me in and they told me I was totally dehydrated. I'm like, how am I dehydrated? All I do is drink water. So they said my body was totally acidic, based on the blood test that I had taken when I was there. And they basically, one of the nurses I know from the gym where I work out, she's very health conscious. She told me that, and I didn't really realize it, that the bottled water I was taking in, I was only taking in like 30% of it into my body, and that wasn't even good for me. So she said that I need to do something different. And so I knew about this water here 2 years ago. I was presented that by somebody, but I didn't act on it. I thought I knew what was best for me. And anybody that knows me outside of here knows I was in the best shape I've ever been in my life. And when I got hit, they told me I had cancer. They told me that everything I was doing wrong as far as what I was taking in my fluids. And so, fast forward a few days after I found out I had cancer, I met with my oncologist. He admitted me straight into the hospital. Prior to that, they had put a tube down my nose to draw out the bowel because I had not slept for 3 weeks. And not eaten because everything was backed up. I had a 7-inch mass below my stomach, and everything, it was like all the bowels in my stomach was building up. And when I was in the emergency room, they put a tube down my nose, and as soon as they put it down, everything started coming out. They pulled out 3 canisters of bowel out of my stomach. 2 days later, I was still in emergency inside my room. They pulled out 3 more canisters out of my stomach, and they said because my body was so acidic, that's what caused the mass in my stomach, below my stomach. And so, whenever I did see my oncologist, he admitted me, like I said, he admitted me into the hospital, and then they did a biopsy straight through my side, right into the mass, to see what kind of cancer I had. I was at stage 4. I get a little emotional, but it's called Non-Hodgkin's Lymphoma. If you want to look up something pretty nasty, it's called double hit. And my oncologist told me if I didn't do something right then, within a year, I might not be around. And that it would probably take a year to get rid of the cancer in my body. So I knew I needed to do something right then. And the only reason I did do the chemo is because of how aggressive the double hit cancer is. It's very aggressive in your body. I had it throughout my body and all my lymph nodes and in that mass. So I went ahead and started doing chemo. I was in the hospital. I had it set up for, I would go in the hospital for 5 days. I would be in they run chemo through my body for 24 hours, 4 days straight. I have a port in my chest right here. They run the chemo through that port into my heart and goes throughout my body. And so I did that for 6 different rounds of chemo. And I knew before I even did my first round what I needed to do. I started researching the nutrition, the water, how I was going to eat, all that. So I had a 2-day break before I went from the hospital until I met with the oncologist, and he met me in the hospital. I went straight. I had already researched where the store was. Ignagic store I was going to get the water from. Luckily, it was like 20 minutes from my house. So I went and got bottled water. I actually ran into Caesar at the Kangen store, and we started talking, and he kind of helped me out on how I should take the water. And so I started taking the water before I even started doing my chemo sessions, and took the water throughout all 6 chemo sessions, rounds. I didn't want to tell anybody what I was doing because I didn't want people to think that I was doing something outside of my chemo. You know, that was their mind frame in the as far as the hospital and the oncologist, because they're not going to want you to. They're all about money. They're all about making money off cancer. And what's funny is throughout my chemo rounds, they would always walk in and point at my jugs and know what it was, and they knew it was the alkaline water, and they knew it was working for me because every day I was one of the only patients. I was getting up 3 times a day, 25 minutes walking around the nursing station. 3 times, and then I'd also have resistance bands in my room working out. I had my tree with my chemo on it, and my sodium bag, and I had my resistance bands working out for an hour to 2 hours every day. And I still work out with resistance bands. They won't let me go to the gym. They said the gyms are too dirty. My immune system they say my immune system's down too low. I don't think it's down too low because I've been drinking the water. The water actually has helped my immune system bring it back up, because all the tests I've had done, all my like white blood cells, everything, all the testing has been great throughout my whole rounds of chemo. I've never had to have any transfusions, none of that. All these other patients, I'm like one of the only ones out there walking. They're sitting in their rooms, won't get out of bed. The nurses they ask me, you know, they wish I could go talk to the patients, but I can't go in their rooms. I walk by the rooms, and you see their table from them eating. All you see is sodas lined up on the tables, and it's sad because sugar just feeds cancer. And that's another reason they wouldn't let me go to the gym, because they knew if I went to the gym, I would break down muscle fiber in my body when I'm lifting weights, because I was lifting too heavy. So it would cancer attack the muscle fiber. So that's why I use the resistance bands. But so I went through this whole journey, 6 rounds of chemo, and you know, like I said before, they said it'd take up a year. July 1st to around November 1st, I was done with 6 rounds of chemo. And basically, when I did a PET scan before my 6th round, did a whole PET scan of my whole body. You gotta remember, I had cancer throughout all my lymph nodes, up and lower, and then mass, and I had a 7-inch mass. Did a PET scan, and the results came back before I did my 6th round. All I had left, the mass was gone, 7-inch mass is gone, all the cancer's gone throughout my lymph nodes. All that was left is just and they said it could be the scar tissue. They saw just a little bit of what they thought could be cancer in a lymph node right here. This past Friday, I actually had a biopsy done on that mass, or that spot. They went through my front right here, and should find out results tomorrow or Tuesday, and I know it's going to be gone. I have all the faith in the world that cancer's gone, and so they want me to progress to start stem cell. And the only reason they want me to do stem cell, and the only reason I agreed to it, is because the type of cancer I had, because it was so aggressive, that they want to make sure they can take my stem cells out, hit me with a real hard chemo that gets any kind of hidden that they can't see on PET scans. PET scans don't show up everything, but they show up most of it, anything that highlights. And I've learned a lot through this whole process of having cancer. I never knew I was going to know. And so one thing I do know is that I can sit here and tell you this water works, but I know it works. Because it worked for me, and I know it's going to work for me for the rest of my life. And I screwed up, didn't use it 2 years ago when it was presented. And I wouldn't be bald-headed right now. I would be, you know, probably I'd be here, but I wouldn't be, you know, talking about when I'm talking about this journey I've gone through. That could have been a lot longer and a lot worse if I didn't do what I was going to, you know, did what I did with the water. And if you don't believe me, you can come talk to me. I don't care. I'll show you pictures of myself prior, when I was at my best shape at 235, and it dropped me to 183. Took all my muscle. Doctor, my oncologist, my PA told me that's the first thing it attacks your muscle. And I knew I needed to start eating, so I started eating in this journey. I got back up. I can control my weight, and that's what amazed them, is that I can control my weight, because usually chemo, cancer will drop you. You keep your weight down, won't let you gain weight. I was able to get my weight to 214 just from eating, and I was working out, you know, and walking all this time. And getting my car. I'm not a cardio guy. I work out. I was, you know, 2.5 to 3 hours a day, and it just has done so much for me just in a short amount of time. And I know that I will be on it for the rest of my life. Anybody that comes in contact with me, I truly hope that they take their health seriously, like I have, and I always thought I did. I do now, and all I can say is, you know, it's changed my life forever. And I hope everybody listens to what I have to say and really takes it to heart, because you don't. It's true. Your health is your wealth. Because I had to sell my business that I owned for 22 years. No job right now. But, you know, I knew I needed to get a machine, so I went and bought one. I just, no, you know, everybody's like, you need to do what you gotta do. I said, yeah. I'm doing, I don't care what people think. I'm gonna do what I need to do for my health. So now I got it where I got the house. I can make a difference for my whole family. So, and I got other stories I'll be talking about in the future, because I'm creating stories right now with family members and friends, because they're on the water, because I've impacted their lives.
Yeah.
So you can follow me on social media and see what people have been saying. I've been posting videos from day one from the hospital. You can see how small I was and how I am today. And I think that's about it. I know I talk a lot. But I just want people to realize how important it is to take care of your health. Don't take it for granted. I guarantee you don't want to go through cancer. I know you don't want to. Man, because I've seen all the people that are mentally defeated in the hospital. And me, I get emotional because I'm excited about what I've done in a short amount of time. So, well, I appreciate y'all's time.
Thank you.